here at AWJM.
Take a trip to my side.
AWJM.
Good people, what's going on? It's your boy Allison West J Media. This is the Media Show. We are coming live from Allison West J Media Studios, and tonight I have a very special guest for you. We're trying to show our versatility and how deep this show can go. We have Jay. He's a submissive. You people wondering like, what the fuck is a submissive? I know y'all into that. What's it called, Jay? BD what?
BDSM.
BDSM. So we're gonna get into some Jay business. We're gonna find out how did he get into this BDSM. You know, Big is a big freak. So I want to know about this. Tune in, good people. So Jay, welcome to the Media Show.
Thank you.
So Jay, how long have you been in the underworld?
Pretty much all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all my life.
When did you know you was into being Can you explain to the people out there? My audience are very ratchet and kind of hood. Explain to them what exactly is BDSM.
BDSM can be broken down in certain terms. There's multiple definitions of it. You have let's start with the letters B and D. Stands for bondage. The D in that stands for discipline and dominance. And the S and M is sadomasochism.
What does that mean, sadomasochism?
To break it down, it's sadism and massages. It's basically everyone has their own definition of it. Ultimately, when it comes down to a lifestyle, it's a certain way of life. You know, you have, when people look it up, they'll find whips, they'll find chains, they'll find cages, they'll find things being dark. You hear the words femdom, you hear the words master, and so forth. So it's basically, it's, as a submissive, it's actually your ability to actually give up complete control to the one you've actually surrendered to, or submitted to, I should say.
Wow. Okay, so how long have you been like in this lifestyle?
I've been in this lifestyle, I want to say, probably starting in high school. I recognized it. It probably was a seed that was planted in me probably when I was in kindergarten. That started with a simple foot fetish. And like I said, usually...
I like feet too.
Well, it's a little different. It's like it starts out with a person's liking. You know, some people might be into feet. Some people might be into butts. Some people might be into breasts. Some people might be into different smell fetishes. Just the
smell fetishes.
Correct. They could be turned on by things like flatulence. They could be turned on by things like musk or something like that. And it starts there, and over time, it could develop into a person's liking towards that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it becomes submissive. It could be several things. Like, for example, in the BDSM, you don't just have the quote-unquote dominance or mistresses. You also have something called an humiliatrix. Usually the humiliatrixes are the ones that are actually doing like the raunchiest things, like farting in somebody's face or something like that.
Tied up and beat. And all that.
Correct.
Okay, so wow, this is deep. So what is the wildest thing you've done in this lifestyle?
The wildest thing I've done is something called fire play. Fire play is I was pretty much tied up on what's called a St. Andrew's cross, and I had candles that were actually put. I was naked. I had candles that would actually put the candles on my, I guess you can say, nipples. Yeah. This woman actually decided to put it along my balls. So basically,
Whoa, that's
chestnuts roasting. You know,
chestnut roasting fine. And that turn you on?
It does. It arouses a certain stimuli. Every little thing you can think of, whether it would be pheromones or whether it be an imaginative thought.
So that take you to the other side, they like to say.
Correct. It's the other side of, because some people it's just simple, go home, go to bed, and have sex. With other people, it's more exotic. There are different types of things that happen when actually going into the embrace of an actual submissive.
Okay, now when you say, for my audience, when you say the word submissive, So, can you explain to my audience what exactly why they call you JaytheSubmissive? What makes you submissive to a woman?
What makes a submissive, which is kind of like a difficult type of thing because every submissive is different. What makes that is a person's desire, their will, perhaps their likes and dislikes. For example, you recognize that your lifestyle when you're pretty much like this, outside of what's called a session. When you can't necessarily, when you can't necessarily function without a woman's control. And likewise, there are women like this. They can't function without a man's control.
So they are female submissive.
There's such thing as a female submissive, yes.
My wife needs this course.
Female submissives and male submissives are not necessarily alike. There's a remarkable difference, but it's generally almost the same.
Okay, now I'm not trying to do it. So are you kind of like, so we've all been scrolling down those porn pages. So are you the kind of submissive that like to put like the dog chains on and have the girl like lead you around the room, like a dog or something?
I am to a certain extent. Again, there's like you have BDSM, the sessions, where you'll see that more commonly. But you also have what's called an FLR, which you don't necessarily. FLR is a female-led relationship. You don't see that. I'm more of that kind of submissive. You don't really
relationship.
Right. You don't really see dog chains all the time. You may see a chain in an FLR. Generally, it's like it signifies that you're owned, and it also signifies that you belong to one person. But as far as being walked around, that's here and there. It's like in a session in BDSM, that is what you'll see more commonly. Yes.
Okay. So is there like so you're in a female-led relationship. So is that a relationship to where the woman takes on the man role, or is she the provider, or is it just strictly sexual she leads the relationship?
Well, there's so many different facets. Like there are situations where there are some dominants out there that are the submissive's not allowed to work, but he plays a role as basically the house husband. And you have the other one. I'm more around the lines of the other one. Basically, as a submissive, my mindset, as it would be in a vanilla relationship, I'm the breadwinner. The only difference is I gear more towards what's called the female, the woman has control of the finances, which means, for example, if I wanted to buy something like a pair of Jordans, I couldn't do it without permission.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If I wanted to hang out with my homeboys, couldn't do it without permission. Now, it doesn't mean that 85% of the time she says no, and if she did, it'd be okay. But keep in mind that before you ever step in a situation like that, you would have actually submitted to the dominant. And that's where it gets kind of difficult, because it's like oftentimes than not, a submissive, that's what they're doing. They're giving up their complete will. But at the same time, there's the expectation that the dominant knows what to do with that will.
I had always wanted to have live-in slaves. I love them. Everybody comes into fetish at different times in their life. I did the normal housewife thing. There were things that were missing. I wanted some more excitement. And they were things that he didn't want.
After divorcing her husband and leaving her vanilla world behind, ex-kindergarten teacher Dahlia Rain found the fetish scene.
And I started meeting more kinky people and going to fetish parties, hosting parties. And then it just became part of my life.
Through Dahlia's newfound kinky lifestyle and femdom profession, she met John at one of her many fetish parties.
I was like, wow, this girl could really whip. Like, she has the wrist action, and it was fun to watch her work.
And when you love what you do, you don't work a day. Well, there's kind of many layers of our relationships. You know, it's much akin to a monarchy in a way. He's the king, and I'm his queen. I'm happily at his side, supporting him as my slaves support me. Hurry up, let's go. Don't make us wait for you.
My name is Fluffy and I am Dahlia's slave.
I'm getting hungry.
Fluffy is one of Dahlia's many slaves and has been in her service for a year and a half.
I have lifestyle slaves who serve me 24/7. Are my feet stinky? I can call anyone at any point in the day. And I have slaves that are here that will come and bring my groceries, do cleaning, do laundry, things like that. Wow. I have pay pigs. So they're submissives who are mainly financially invested. They want to make sure I'm comfortable and happy all the time, so they send me gifts and buy me things and take me on trips. So we were just talking about the plans for finishing the rest of the day. You did such a good job today and you've been behaving so well. We're gonna take you into the other room and I'm gonna give you a reward.
Thank you, guys.
Oh wait.
In the summertime, we spent a lot of time just lounging on the roof. And that's, oh, this would be so much better if we had champagne or watermelon. And, well, I can just call a slave and they can bring us champagne and watermelon.
Yeah. Fluffy, can you make us some food?
Okay.
Great.
Goddess, how many eggs do you want?
2 scrambled.
Bacon rare.
Well, her and I actually met at some fetish parties in New York City. We became really good friends first. Next thing you know, I ended up becoming her slave.
My desire being a slave is I like to make my goddess happy.
Yeah, it just feels good when I see a smile on her face. And she takes care of me.
Please, Dahlia, I do pretty much anything that she asks of me, even if it's just a matter of giving her a foot rub.
Or like 10 o'clock at night when I want cheesecake to be delivered, he'll order it for me. One of the things that I love so much about John is that he trusts me and he understands the dynamics that I have.
Well, when I come to her house, I'm essentially in her kingdom. You know, she has the crown cabinet and, you know, her own dungeon, and so I don't really step in and yell at, you know, Fluff and be like, you gotta go do this. You know, it's, you know, that's their dynamic, that's their relationship.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Look at this. Look, none of this qualifies as undercooked.
Really crunchy.
The eggs are good. The eggs are getting up.
Thank you. You're supposed to be earning a reward
Yes, guys.
when you burn the bacon.
Sorry, guys.
Dahlia rewards me in a lot of different ways. Like the other night, I wanted to sleep at the foot of her bed. So she's like, yeah, so it was great. I was very happy.
Curled up at my feet like a dog with the other dog. If Fluffy were to say no to me, pigs would be flying. Slaves don't really get a lot of opportunity to say no. I like yes. Yes is a good word. Good boy.
Thank you, guys.
I don't have sex with my subs. There's no sexual relationship at all. You might be able to zip it.
I'm sure it's been.
It's definitely sexual, but it's not sexual in a way that traditionally people would think, right?
I mean, she's gorgeous. I mean, look
He
at
just
her.
knows he doesn't deserve
But
this,
actually, in our yes, guys.
He just doesn't deserve
In our dynamic, I actually get more out of the tease than I do out of actually, you know, going through with anything sexual.
Really good.
BDSM requires a lot of trust. It's really important that you really understand your sub or your slave. It's not like, oh, I kind of feel bad for them for the way that they have to do this. Don't feel bad. Like, they've been fantasizing about this for 10 years. Most submissive people have been that way for a really long time, and they hide it and they push it down inside of themselves because society tells them, oh, it's weird or it's wrong or it's non-traditional. All ready?
Yes, guys.
All right, let's go.
Yes, guys.
We back, good people. We are with JaytheSubmissive. Jay, I'm sorry if I was a little bland in the first segment, but this is something new for me, and this is a very good adjustment. So Jay, I will have to start throwing a little heat at you because I want to know, because the people want to know about this lifestyle. Okay. So so what about this as a man that gives you that feeling? You know what feeling I'm talking about, right? Like that. Those what they call, the hormone, as a man, when you do something good at macho bravado, but I can tell, look in your eyes, that this feeling, that submissiveness gives you that.
I want to say it makes me complete. If you, say for instance, you started, like I said, when I was in kindergarten, it started there.
Okay, what happened in kindergarten?
In kindergarten, it's nap time for kids at some point. Mm-hmm. And what they normally would do, they'll lay their mats down, mm-hmm. and they'll go ahead and take a nap. Mm-hmm. With me, it was more of a situation where I'd take a nap by my kindergartner's teacher's feet. Mm-hmm. Eventually, she'd move me, mm-hmm. but I found my way back. Mm-hmm. Like I just felt as if there always had to be underneath her. Mm-hmm. But it went as something that was kind of like not mentioned.
So you was a feet man at 5.
At 5, yes.
Did you know you was a feet man, or you just?
No, it was just something about it that just actually.
It gave you that feeling.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
And so as time goes on, feet turned into different things where all of a sudden, being under a woman it just felt right. Getting into high school, like I'll use this as an example. I don't know how every state does this, but I know, like in Maryland, we had this thing called polar sports. And in polar sports, you pick a captain. I was named the captain of the team. I picked a female. And eventually, when everyone picked their teams, I went in and asked my gym teacher if I can make this female the captain. Because I agreed with the idea, conceded to the idea of the woman being in charge. And every time I would do something, the woman had to be in charge. Every time I would go somewhere, the woman had to be in charge. And so at a very young age, by the time I was like 15, I agreed or believed in female supremacy. And from that particular point on, it just took flight.
Now, Jay, now I don't mean to throw the race card. I mean, we black. So the black man is a powerful.
And I'm glad you said that.
Powerful being, like
I'm glad you
warrior, Zulu warrior.
I'm glad you said that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like Wakanda, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so how do you go from that to this? Not saying that I'm trying to dim your light or anything like that, but how did we get here?
I'm glad you said that, because when you go online, mm-hmm. anyone, and they key in the letters BDSM, mm-hmm. in context or in terms of looking for a example of what BDSM is, what usually happens is you see perhaps a white, or even femdom, for example. You see a white woman in PVC or being dominant to a man that's on his knees, mm-hmm. and usually the woman's white, the man's white. Mm-hmm. Very rare do you ever see black woman in that light, mm-hmm. and black man in the light of being on his knees. Very rare do you ever see that. Mm-hmm. Likewise, the same situation, if you were to key in black femdom, it always turns out to be something pornographic. Yeah. And really, if you look across just about any stream, as they do our sisters, like every time you turn around, they're put in the light where they have to they get naked just to even be accepted. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem to happen like that with white women too tough. Mm-hmm. Well, in that sense, the likelihood of you finding a black male submissive, slim chance. Mm-hmm. But at the same exact time, you don't hear too much about a black female dominant.
True.
They may say it, but online you don't see it across. They're way too tough. Usually it's always
okay. Let me ask you this. So is this your excuse for lack of a better word, perverted way of uplifting the black woman?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So
my preference is a black woman. So quite naturally, my preference would be a black dominant.
Oh, black dominant.
But
are you married? Have you ever been married?
Been married twice, and
were they dominants?
No.
Okay, that's why it didn't work out.
Correct. On both occasions, I mentioned who I was, put all my cards on the table, showed how I was, admitted who I am, and so forth.
And it turned them off.
Because of that, it turned them off. The funny thing is, usually the submissive man is far more aggressive than the quote-unquote alpha man. Though a lot of times they're mistaken.
Whoa. Stop right there.
That's why I said
I'll let you go out there. Now, how can a nigga be submissive and he more aggressive than a non-submissive nigga?
They're more protective of the woman. He's more protective of the woman he loves than an alpha man would be.
Oh, so I'm kind of like for lack of a better word, like a guard dog.
If you're submissive,
or
it could be looked at as that way, yes.
Whew, that's deep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that's easily said, but it's something that really comes out when it needs to.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, like I said,
because your dominant is for lack of a better word, your master, or not your master. What's another word you want to use?
Your dominant is more like, I mean, people use different things. Sometimes they call them ma'am.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if it's a man, they'll call his woman a ma'am or call her goddess, or sometimes it depends. It depends. In a more enclosed setting, for example, yeah. But in public, maybe I'll probably call her by her first name. It's something that's actually done in secret.
Okay. So you don't want people to know that you're submitting to your girl.
Well, no, that's not exactly. I mean, that's not the case exactly. It might be more of a something that's done in secret. It doesn't. A lot of times with most submissives, it doesn't matter whether the public knows. But a lot of times for the sanity or for the integrity of the relationship, for example, it may not necessarily be something that you want to let everybody know. You know, put it like this: same-sex relationships got accepted. I highly doubt that someone would accept a woman walking a man out in public like a dog.
Yeah.
So you got to take that into consideration.
That's a little wild. Okay, so you've been married and you had twice, right? So you married twice.
Correct.
And you had to leave the relationships because you wasn't being able to be yourself.
Well, it didn't work out. It didn't happen that way. It happened at where, because I was so submissive, there were other things that it was actually viewed as. Like I started being weak, being a yes man, which a lot of times people make the mistake of confusing a submissive man for a yes man.
You see bullshit. Excuse me, because you see bullshit just like everybody else.
Oh yeah. I've even had one person sit there and question my being black, saying I wasn't black enough. And see, that's their stigma.
No. You know you're on the media show.
I know.
You know you're on the media show.
I know.
And you know I'm one of the blackest men in America. And I'm one of the most. Can I say this in a humble way? This is some white boy shit to me.
I hope she don't think that I think that she's some kind of hoe.
Me and her were the only women in there because it's like a boys club. Like for the most part, cigar lounges are like a boys club. You might have a lot of like women here and there that might come every now and then, but for the most part it's a lot of just men that go there. So I do recommend going to cigar lounges in your city to like meet up with like single wealthy men or just wealthy men in general. But anyway, so I sit down at the table, I sit beside her, and then beside me is a friend, and then blah blah blah. But we're gonna focus on the guy I turned to a sugar sub. We're gonna call him Rob. Let's call him Rob. So I end up sitting across from Rob, and you know, they're just talking to me like, oh, like what do you do, stuff like that. And I remember she was telling me like, don't talk about the domination stuff, but of course, like I'm an Aquarius, I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about. Like, who cares? Like, it's my business. So I just told them like, oh yeah, I'm a dominatrix. I also work in corporate fashion. Of course they don't care about the corporate fashion stuff. All they hear is dominatrix, and just instantly the whole conversation just switched to wanting to know everything about me. And friend is just sitting here just like over it, but at the same time she's noticing like they're loving what I'm talking about. So like to me, like, to go off sidetrack, to me, when it comes to like when you're at the table or having dinner with these type of men, like, don't think you have to act ditzy or act clueless or act really just like, oh yeah, I'm just here and I'm cute and like whatever, I can just sit here and blink because I'm cute. Like, honestly, personality knocks it out the park, like, every time. And when I go on these dates, I don't act like anyone but myself. Like, I don't sit there and say, oh, well, let me act this way, or let me not tell him this, or let me not tell them that because they might view me a different way, and oh, because I'm black, they really might view me a different way. No, like, I say whatever I want to say, and I leave it at that. So we just keep talking about Dom stuff or whatever, and I randomly say how, like, one day, because this is still true, like, one day I want to open up my own BDSM dungeon, you know, ran by all women in the city, and Rob is just like, oh, I can invest in that. And he just randomly says that, and you know me, I look at him like, we're gonna talk later, because I didn't want to expound on it too much. But like, long story short, we like had a great time. Everyone's drinking, laughing, cigars, endless food, whatever you want to eat, like, they allow you to order it. As many drinks as you want to drink. I don't smoke cigars, so I didn't really smoke a cigar, but you know, it turned out to be really good, and you know, I was really relaxed, and I was kind of glad that I came at the end of it all, because you remember, I wasn't gonna go, like, at all. So at the end of the date, I go downstairs, like, we go downstairs, and the guys are like getting us cars to leave, and I noticed that Rob is like really on me. He's just like, oh, you know, let me make sure you get your car. I want to make sure you specifically have your car called or whatever. Take my number. We can set up a date for the end of the week, because mind you, it was like a Tuesday, I think. He's like, we can set up a date for Friday, when all this business stuff is over and I can just relax or whatever. I'm like, okay, Rob. I keep doing this because his name is Rob. So I take Rob's number and I go home, and he texts me, and he's just like, I really want to know more about your Dom stuff because I am submissive. Like, I don't know if your friend told you, but like, I'm very submissive or whatever. Mind you, like, she didn't tell me he was submissive. I don't know if she was trying to like hide him from me because he was like the wealthiest one at this table, because mind you, like, the table was in his name, and like, he comes from like a long range of money. He's like older, he's like in his 60s, so he's been doing this stuff for a long time, has like a lot of businesses and stuff like that. So anyway, as time progresses, like, we start going on more dates. It gets to the point where we're going on a date like at least once a week. The first date we had privately, I already let him know like my intentions. I let him know what I'm looking for. I let him know what I won't do, because I feel like on any sugar date, whether it's a regular sugar daddy or a sugar sub, always say what you want, because first of all, you can't assume that they will assume and just go ahead and give it to you. Like, you have to say what you want, because the dates can keep going on and on and on, and here you have nothing but dinner and drinks.
Yeah, we back. So we got on JaytheSubmissive. So Jay, I ain't gonna lie, man. This some heavy shit. So, where do you see the future in BDSM going?
Well, that is a difficult question in many ways. I can see it possibly going virtual. I can see it, people doing different things, like even investing in the idea of having some semblance of like financial domination, for example. I can tell you right now that it didn't take COVID to actually start that. Like, I can just give you a few examples. In the BDSM world, you have something called a pay pig.
A what?
A pay pig. There are a lot of women that aren't really aware of the fact that in the BDSM world, there are guys that are actually send you money just because, as a form of financial dominance or financial slavery.
So you send the girl money just because you like her, basically.
That or you're surrendering to her. And it's very few do that.
So she didn't have to ask for that, you just send it to her.
True, there's some that do that. But then you also have people that do things like auctions. You have doms that will sell their worn panties. They'll put them in a plastic bag, sold to the highest bidder. You got doms that'll sell their shoes. They be functified, so to speak, and they'll sell them to the highest bidder. People that have foot fetishes.
Jay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you ever bought them funky?
No, I haven't.
You motherfucker.
I mean, I haven't. I just know about this as someone who's actually, I've been in seminars, and I've heard. Look, check this out.
I'm sorry.
Check this out. I've been in situations where I've actually held seminars with, multiple submissives. Me being the only black man in the room. Okay?
Yeah.
And I've heard over and over again, someone ordered drawers, someone ordered shoes, someone ordered ear swabs, someone ordered. There's all kinds of so many depths. I mean, some people don't even realize
deep,
it is. There's some women that they can sit there, dangle their shoes in a 5-minute video, 10-minute video, and their guys will buy it for $30 a pop. They don't even have to show their face.
Oh, good people. Thinking we in the wrong business. BDSM big is on the way. Are there women that want to see fat dudes wear their sandals? Will she pay me $30 a video for that?
Probably. If you find the right, avenue, you can go and Google it. There's pretty much, there's actually, to be frank with you right now, in Atlanta, there is a popular, what's called an ABDL.
Mm-hmm. What's that? What that mean?
ABDL is adult baby diaper lovers. There are actually men out there that actually fantasize about being babies. So they'll wear diapers and, they look for adult moms that will change their diapers and whatnot. And yes, they do a number 1 and 2 in a diaper. No, I don't do that. So I just happen to know about it.
Holy fucking shit.
They actually
Jay, what's the I got some backstory on you, and they say you was locked in a cage or something?
I was.
Give us this story, Jay, please. Good people, wait till you hear this. Go ahead.
Sure. I actually was involved with a pro dom.
What's a pro
professional dominatrix years ago. She was doing each time she'd have a session about $1,000 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in a work.
Back that up again.
Some of these sessions.
See, Portia made my drink strong. See, I just spilled it. Go ahead.
Some of these sessions were like $1,000 a pop. So she'll see guys to be there for 2 hours. She made $1,000, $500 an hour. Whether it been face sitting, whether it been trampling, a whole works. Well, there was this one particular client that she had that basically she dated because I was a live-in submissive. One night he came over, and matter of fact, she has 2 cages, not just one. She had 2 cages. That was a night that they had sex, and I was actually in a cage in the basement.
Whoa. Okay, I'm not being disrespectful in no kind of way. Please, this is hard for me to think. So you was downstairs in a cage while your pro dom was upstairs having. Who she had? I thought doms didn't have sex with nobody.
They could. Mm-hmm. There's something called though everyone has a certain interpretation of this, but it's something called it's like a poly situation. Mm-hmm. In her case, she had a boyfriend and she had a submissive in me. Mm. And so the boyfriend, they could have sex and whatnot.
But you couldn't get none.
No. In fact, not only that, I was held in what's called a CB 6,000, I should say. Mm-hmm. What a CB 6,000 is a cock lock. Meaning I couldn't even jack off. So when it comes down to being a submissive, you don't have rights at all. Okay? And
stop. So you was in a, what you call that again? A CB what? 6,000. I just heard 6,000.
CB 6,000.
So you was in a CB 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't even beat your meat because unless your dom allowed you to.
Correct.
And you couldn't even have sex with her.
No.
What kind of? No, please, I'm not being disrespectful, Jay. But people want to know out there. What the fuck do you get out of that kind of feeling?
It is basically completion. You know, there's some people that actually have that mind. That doesn't mean that they don't ever have sex. It could be a situation where, hey, you know, dominant might say, hey, okay, I want to have sex with you. And in some cases, I've seen situations, not me, but I've seen situations where she, you know, a dominant taking on a female sub. Yeah. And basically it could have been someone he wasn't even attracted to, and they were forced to have sex in front of her. My old owner, as I refer to her as, she had what's called the 2 cages. She had one in the basement, and she had one in the bedroom. Now, the one in the bedroom is what's called a bed cage. It's a bed with the cage underneath. I'd been locked in that before when her boyfriend came over, and they were sitting back watching movies and whatnot. And basically, my place was in the cage. Yeah, but of course, I was allowed to beat off here and there, and I get milked, so to speak. But
what is milk?
Jacked off, but she jacked me off.
This is some deep shit here, good people. You know what? Hey Jay, I gotta get this shit every nigga wanna know about you, man. I don't even know if I even want to ask you this shit, Jay. You want to know shit every nigga want to know about you? Neck bones, oxtails.
Oxtails.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Sprite or 7-Up?
Sprite.
The best soul food in the city of Atlanta.
That's a tough one. I want to say This Is It, but lately they've been This Ain't Shit.
Mm-hmm. But you got to pick one beside This Is It. Then. Give us one.
Sergeant Wyatt.
And that's an Atlanta throwback. Sergeant Wyatt, Memorial Drive. Over there in Edgewood. Are you a music fan?
I am.
Favorite Future album?
Never heard it.
Favorite Outkast album?
Stankonia.
Wow, I guess that is the. Okay, the last question on shit every nigga want to know about you. We asked which side of town got the best pussy. But Jay, in the city of in the state of in the north, south, east, or west, which side of town got the best pussy? In your opinion?
Honestly, don't know. I guess I could say north side. I don't know.
The north side.
I guess.
Jay,
I'm just taking a guess.
If you ever want to be unsubmissive and you want a good, now you like good pussy though, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have to have it.
It doesn't float my boat what I do at all.
Hey, Jay, but I'm gonna tell you like I want to laugh because like I've never heard somebody say no shit like that. So let me tell you something, good people. On the media show, we accept everyone for who they are. And on the media show, you can live your fucking truth. Okay? But if Jay ever want to find out where that good hot cock is, I'm going to tell you something, Jay. You go to Old National. You go to Garby Road. You go to Riverdale. You go to the South Side. And on the South Side, so help me Heavenly Father, they bring good pussy out there. And Jay, is there anything you want to tell my good listeners while we closing? Help them get some more understanding about you.
Well, I would say, study it. If you want to know more understand that there's a difference. I wanted to say, because I was mentioning something about videos earlier.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say that it was not BDSM is not porn. Mm-hmm. It is a lifestyle.
Are you offended by when people say BDSM is porn?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Because porn gives it a dirty name.
It is, because real BDSM is not necessarily contingent upon or leads
sexual gratification.
Not always. It could, depending on the dominant, depending on the submissive, depending on the actual relationship. But it's not porn, and it's just a lifestyle.
Okay. Now, I have one more question for you, Jay.
Sure.
Do you see this being your lifestyle until you die?
I do.
Okay. Well, good people, this is AWJM Media. This is part one of our informative shows that we're doing here. We're bringing in people from different walks of life that are against, they have not lived the type of lives that normal viewers like you and myself are living. This is Jay. He's a proud black man. He is a black man, and he's a submissive. And it's okay to be a submissive. So good people, Jay, thanks for coming on my show.
Thank you.
And good people, we'll see you next week. Oh, next week, who we got coming? Next week, we got the real estate lady coming, and we got Mr. Cool, and we got Nino from Ghetto Mafia. Big, we doing numbers. See you next week, good people.
Take a trip to my side. It ain't a game with us. Take a trip to my side. If you a bitch, you can't bang with us.